Hello. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Learn English Live. I am Cheri, and tonight we are going to have a Q&A lesson. So, what does this mean? So, a Q&A lesson is an opportunity for you to ask me questions as the teacher. So these questions can be related to maybe some of your personal goals in learning English. It could also be more specific. Let's say you have heard an idiom and you would like someone to explain to you what the idiom means. Or let's say that you want to possibly use a certain sentence with a friend when you go out to dinner. Those are all things that you could maybe share here tonight in this lesson. Also, if you'd like to learn something about me, feel free to ask. I may choose to say that I don't want to answer that question, but I am a pretty open person. And so if you have questions about my background and my teaching style, I'd be more than happy to answer those too. But really, this lesson is for you, the students, to ask questions that you would like to ask an English teacher. So let's get started. Let's see who is here in the live chat. So we have Vashuda. Vashuda, could you please let me know if you guys can hear me and if you can see me okay? I'd like to know if there's a full screen. It looks like everything looks good here. So Vashuda, hello. Hello, Injury Loam. And hello, Virginia Zaman. Virginia was the first person here today. I checked in with her earlier. So this is, yes, this is my private teaching office. This is correct. This is where I teach in the mornings to my students. And Dwee, hello everyone. It's great to see you. So let me know, what is your week going like? How are things going for you? I am preparing several different things. I have some deadlines that I'm working under. And I did get the midterms done last week. I believe Robin had midterms as well. My midterms are quite different because my school has students who are very young. They are ages 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I basically just had to write report cards and meet with parents to talk about their students. So Michelle, good morning, Michelle. Thank you for waking up. Monday Crispy, good morning, Mohammed. Great to see you here. Zaman, I'm glad you're having a good week. Michelle, thank you for being a supporter of this channel along with Dwee. Thank you very much. So you can support us here on Learn English Live. The information is down below. If you would like to do that, we would really appreciate it. So our goal is to continue to bring a wide variety of types of lessons to you, the students, and to make it accessible when you are able to have time to get online and learn English. So the countries that I have traveled to Mexico. I have traveled through a few countries. So I've traveled through Britain on my way to Russia. I've been to several islands like the Grand Caymans, and I've been to the Bahamas, and that is pretty much it. I did go to Canada shortly, just kind of an over the border kind of a thing. I have a list of countries that I would like to travel to, and particularly I'd love to go and see a waterfall. And I don't mean just a little waterfall. I want to go somewhere that has a large waterfall. That is the next thing that I want to do. So it's not morning for you, Injury. Okay. I know for some people it's really early in the morning and they're getting up. Tell me, what time of day is it where you're at? Gertrudis, welcome. Hello, Gertrudis. Thank you very much for supporting our channel. So students, this is about you. So I would like for you to ask questions. So let's get started. Let's be interactive with this lesson. Ask me questions and I will go through and I will do my best to answer them. So it is 8 o'clock, 8:05 where I live. So let me know what time it is where you are and where you are located in the chat. Also, feel free to ask some questions. So Mohammed, I should go to Switzerland. Yes, that does sound like a great place to visit. I wonder what time of year is best to travel to Switzerland. If you are there or if you have traveled there, let me know when would be the good time of year to travel to Switzerland. So, so I have a question here about if anyone is a fan of K-pop. Yes, my 14-year-old daughter is a huge fan of the big band that's from Korea. She's being very angry at me if I didn't remember the name right this minute, but I don't. But I listen to them all the time with her. She knows all of their names, and she said that they're all amazing dancers, which they are. It's 1 a.m. where you are, Indri. Excellent. As far as music, I am a very eclectic person when it comes to music and also literature. So eclectic means that I like a wide variety of music. BTS, yes, BTS, that is the group. Thank you very much, Robin. BTS is a group that is very popular throughout the world, and my daughter Callie loves listening to them very much, and she just says they're phenomenal musicians, singers, and dancers. So it's 2 a.m., Michelle. So I hope did you go to sleep for a little bit and then wake up for this live? Michelle, please ask some questions. If you are staying up half the night, ask some questions. Mohammed, Saudi Arabia, it's 4:06 in the morning. I do not like to wake up quite that early, Mohammed. What countries are on my bucket list? Okay. Well, my bucket list, like I said, I want to see a waterfall, and I believe there is Angel Falls is in South America, so I would like to go to that continent. I would love to visit... I'd like to visit Canada, actually. That's pretty doable. That's fairly close. But as far as I'd love to travel to the Middle East, and I'd also like to travel through Asia. I have met so many students in Asia that I would love to go and see them. So specific countries, that's so hard. I'd kind of like to go to Vietnam. I find that interesting. I'd like to go to... Saudi Arabia, I'd like to visit there. I'd like to visit India. I think that there would be amazing things to see there as well. And of course, I have to go to Korea because that is where Robin is. I have to go visit him. What do I think? Why do you think of good learning? I think that good learning is, if you could clarify that a little bit, but I think what is a great learning experience for one person is going to be different than what it is for another person. So there may be students here who are here and you're supportive, but you really prefer Robin's teaching style, and that's okay. Or maybe you prefer my teaching style. We all respond differently to different types of teachers and different types of learning. Monday Crispy likes K-pop. Hey, Natalie, great to see you. Okay. We have a great question here. I have been asked if I have experience teaching an English learner that has a stutter, and what is a stutter. So yes, I have experience working with students who are learning English who are also stutterers. What this means is they have difficulty producing language in a fluent manner. So for example, people who stutter will often be able to do things like sing very fluently. They'll also be able to do automatic tasks, such as, if someone asks you something that we say all the time, then that comes out very fluently. They could list off maybe the days of the week, but if you were to ask them, what do you like to eat for dinner, that would be really difficult. And it is a neurological and psychological, sociological based disorder. It's a disfluency, and it is something that can be very difficult for people to overcome because it's very isolating at times, but it can be treated. I've worked with many people who stutter, and I enjoy that work very much. So thank you for that question. Is Chica the daughter of... Oh, no. So, Michelle, Chica is not related to Bitsy. They definitely come from different parents, but they look a lot alike. Do I know any Brazilian singers? I do not, Erica, but please share with me if you have any suggestions. I always love exploring new music. Angel Falls is in Venezuela. Thank you, Gertrudis. I thought so, but I didn't want to say it and be incorrect. So I do know a few Venezuelans, so maybe they can help me find a place to stay, and I can go visit Angel Falls. Hello, Ram, good morning. It's okay. Thank you for sharing the time. Thank you, Robin. I should have said Korea. That's on the top of the list. And what kind of travel? Gertrudis wants to know if I enjoy traveling in big cities or if I enjoy nature. So I am an eclectic person in general. So I like to go and see and do a variety of things. I come from a very rural area, so I do not get the fast pace of the big cities very often. I do enjoy it, but I need to then take a break and go back out into the country where it's quieter, and I think better. It's just so loud and busy in the big cities, and I'm just not used to it. But I love all the fun and opportunities and museums and everything you can explore in the large cities. Virginia, you're in California. Great. It's nice to see you. Why do you have to receive to learn more? Indri, I'm still not sure on your question. If you can try that again. Where am I from? Jatoth. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I am from the United States. I live in the Midwest. So the Midwest is kind of in the center of the United States. Do I enjoy the local of the countries that you have visited, Gertrudis? So, yes. One of my best experiences traveling was when I was traveling in Russia, because we were in Siberia, and we would go to restaurants. I really enjoy eating, at local establishments that families run, so that you can really experience the true culture and food of a country. And the staff would always come because it was very obvious that my husband and I were from the United States. My husband is tall and he is a big man. It shows up very much so. And they would come over and they would want us to, they want to practice their English with us. And that I found that so interesting and just really rewarding experience. Dwee says, now 6, but she, until she can't understand when you're talking with her. Dwee, I think that's something that's a little bit more complex. So I would like to speak to you about that personally. Okay. Local food. Yes, Gertrudis, I enjoy the local food wherever I am at. I do enjoy trying local food. So, Robin, what is the ideal student to me? I feel that the ideal student is a student who is very passionate about learning. I am passionate about teaching. And what I mean by that is that I am committed to helping students reach their goals. And sometimes we don't know what our goals are. And I find all the time, every day, I'm sure Robin gets this a lot more than me, but I have people messaging me on Instagram and on TikTok, and they'll say, I want to learn English. What can I do? And that is a very big question. And so my response is always, well, why do you want to learn English? What is the goal that you want to achieve? Because there are different ways to go about that. So that is, my ideal student is someone who's just really passionate and committed to it. And Alyssa, hello, Alyssa. Great to see you here. Hello, Shajad. Thank you for coming. Remember, guys, ask some questions. May, it's great to see you, May. Thank you for supporting the channel. We appreciate that. And no worries on being late. You arrive whenever you can. And if you cannot stay, you can always come back and watch the playback. Also, if you can't attend either Robin or my live sessions, please return because the playback will be available for you, and we often will have a homework assignment attached to that as well. Robin is on Sundays and I am on Tuesdays. All of that information should be below. While we're talking about that, I am Cheri Gibson. I am a speech therapist and online ESL teacher. I also help people who are trying to establish their goals in their learning process. I've been doing some speaking at schools to talk about that. And I do have an Instagram, which is below. I have a TikTok, which is also below. And I have my own YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my channel, Learn English with Cheri, if you have not done so. And then, of course, if you're not a subscriber here at Learn English Live, please hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notifications when we go live. I go live daily on my Instagram, and then I also will have live lessons on my YouTube channel, and I'm always posting new videos. So let's see here. Albert, I know people that are not native that speak better. Yes, Albert, I completely agree with you. And so when I have people ask me, do I need to have a native English speaker be my teacher? My answer to that is no. I've met so many people who are not native speakers who are amazing teachers. And I think the thing that also is very helpful is that if you are not a native speaker and you are teaching others, you have personal experience about the challenges that you had, and you are able to relate to your student in ways that a native speaker such as myself would not be able to. So I think that, yes, there are many non-native speakers that are better equipped at using the English language than native speakers. WWE. Okay. Shajad, welcome. Do I interact with students on TikTok? Okay. So TikTok is new to me. I interact with students quite a bit on Instagram, and I have been receiving some responses to my TikToks, and I do respond to messages there, but it is a little bit different. I think TikTok is more of a passive learning experience, whereas Instagram is more interactive. I'm a very interactive teacher, so I want to have back and forth. The best way to learn is active learning. Passive learning takes a lot longer. It's not nearly as effective, but I think TikTok may evolve to allow more interaction with the audience, and I do think it's a great platform for short lessons to assist people who want to learn in that format. So when did I begin traveling abroad? Gertrudis, I did not begin traveling abroad until I was in my 30s. I couldn't afford it before then. I have 4 children, so it made it difficult. Right, Riham, how can I develop my pronunciation and remember all the words I knew? Okay, so I'm going to suggest something that is a little unusual, and I use TPR, which is total physical response. What that means is I talk with my hands all the time. So when I'm teaching my students, even adult students, if they are just learning vocabulary words, I will pair a movement with the word. So if we are learning about jump, the verb jump, I will do the sign language for jump, or we will actually jump. If you pair movement with a word, your brain is more likely to establish that pathway so that you will be able to recall that word again. And pronunciation. Practice pronunciation by recording yourself. If you can video record on your phone or watch yourself in a mirror, those are great ways to work on your pronunciation. Also, reading out loud is a fantastic way to work on pronunciation as well, and just overall fluency. Fluency is the ability to speak in connected speech with all of the words flowing together. Shahjad, I would like to know grammar and rules. Is that well enough for proper learning of grammar? So I don't get into specific texts, but there are so many that are out there that are well established, and I feel that if you are wanting to look at grammar, just that practice, and I would suggest trying to get a wide variety of sources just to keep things interesting for you, because grammar can be a bit dry. And also, I often see students, they focus on grammar and focus on grammar, but then when it comes to trying to have a conversation, they're not quite able to do that yet because they haven't put all the pieces together. So the best way to practice your speaking is to speak. And if you don't have someone to speak with, you can record yourself. You can find there are groups online where people will have meetings on Zoom to practice conversational skills. You can seek a teacher. Those are all suggestions that I would have for that. Is voting in the next... Hang on a moment, students. It looks like I was disconnected for a moment, but we're reconnected. Okay, I do not talk about voting. I do not talk about politics in my public life or even my personal life. I don't talk about who I'm going to vote for with my husband. I don't talk about what I think with my children. I want my children to develop their own decisions about how they feel about the world. So I don't discuss those, but a lot of people do. There are many people on social media who will gladly tell you who they are voting for and why. Mohammed, what do you think about the year 2100, especially transportation? I have not thought about that. I love science fiction. I am a huge science fiction fan. I love science fiction movies. I like science fiction literature. I think that, in some ways, I think we might not necessarily be progressive. I think we might kind of hit a plateau. That's just my personal opinion. But I do feel that we'll try to reduce the reliance maybe on oil and try to find other ways. But I don't know enough about that topic, really, to be honest. And the topic for today, Anna, is a Q&A. It is a Q&A, so please ask questions and let me know. And Albert, yes. Like I said, I just don't want to support specific texts because there are so many and there are great ones out there. Do you have examples of regional differences? Yes, I'd love to talk about accents and regional differences. I live in the Midwest, so what typically you will see if you are going to watch the news, the national news in the United States, the broadcasters, the journalists will often attempt to use a Midwestern accent. So Midwestern speaking tends to be very neutral, so you don't see as many variations in how people speak from the Midwest. But in the East, we'd see some definite differences. So for me, if I'm going to say the word car, I very much am going to almost over enunciate the sound. R, car. I'm going to drive the car to work. On the East Coast, car is pronounced ka, and particularly the Northeast. So the R sound is diminished. And what I've seen on the West Coast does have a lot of different languages impacting. So you'll see a wide variety of regional accents and dialects. But in my specific area, some differences that you'll see mostly have to do with word choices. So for example, I am drinking something right now. This is my caffeine, which I'm going to take a drink of right now. And I would call that a pop. I need to get some pop. In southern Illinois, which is about 3 hours drive south, that would be called soda. If you drive even further down on the southern, like the southeast everything's called Coke or Coca-Cola. So those would be some differences. Another difference that you often will hear is in words like, I'm going to do the laundry. We will also call laundry wash. I'm going to do the wash. If you go further south, it's wash. I'm going to wash the car instead of I'm going to wash the car. All right, so let's see here. Yes, ACE channel, can you help to reduce the foreign accent? I am a speech therapist, so I have a little more training than some. There are some online ESL teachers who that's all they do, and they are amazing at it. There's extra trainings that you can do to help others with their accent. Reducing the foreign accent, it definitely can be done. There are great programs out there. Dewey, can you give advice how to remember new vocabulary so I'm not forgetting it again? Okay, so I mentioned earlier how I will use physical movements and gestures with a word to help pair that connection in our brain. But another great way to help remember things is to actually write them down. Writing is an amazing tool because it creates another pathway in our brain to solidify that concept. So if you write things out, if you want to remember a word, write it down. That's a great way to help facilitate learning. On the go and go to. No, Alyssa, great question. I am often on the go. That means that I'm always going somewhere, doing something. I have a busy schedule. I'm on the go. I eat on the go. I talk on the phone on the go. But go to, I am your go-to gal if you want help with pronunciation. I'm your go-to. That means that I'm the person that can do a good job. I want to help. Reham, I know grammar a little bit, but when I spoke, I don't know when it's happened. What is your device? Reham, I'm sorry. Can you please rephrase that? I'm not sure I understand that one. Alyssa, we have a similar question. Is there any difference between to go to? Perfect. Good. You guys are thinking. You're on the same page. Broadcast. Broadcast is what I am doing to you. I am broadcasting this lesson out to you. A broadcaster is a person who reads the news. They read the news. Albert. Okay. Gertrudis, what is correct? Analyze or analyze? Analyze is spelled A-N-A-L-Y-Z-E, but let's just take a look at, I'm going to get fancy, guys. I have not done a live like this to look up. I'm going to do what Robin does and do the Oxford Dictionary and go to analyze. So just a interesting tidbit about me is that I won the spelling bee in my county when I was a young student. And so for that reason, I am really into spelling things correctly. And I am not a subscriber. I did not know that you had to be a subscriber to use the Oxford English Dictionary. Okay, so we will just do the non-Oxford definition. So here we have analyze. This I spell it A-N-A-L-Y-Z-E. And you'll see here it's a verb and give some examples there. I wanted to double check because with British English, sometimes that Z can be different. Okay, Shajad, water. Water is how I pronounce that. Albert's doing his washing, doing his laundry. Vashuda, at present we have our accent. If we want to improve our pronunciation, is it possible now? Yes. Okay, so this is where it's important not to compare yourself to someone else. Everyone has natural tendencies to be able to do things well or natural tendencies to have things that are more difficult. So there are some people who can learn a language and have been speak it for many, many, many years, and the accent is still there. But it doesn't mean that it won't improve over time. What I suggest is finding the resources and tools to look at the differences between English and your native language. Oftentimes, there are certain sounds that are not present in your native language that are in English, and those sounds will give you difficulty. The other suggestion I have is to look at the vowel sounds. That, I feel, is an area often not touched upon. And if you look at the different videos that you see online, everybody's teaching, and even myself on my TikTok, I did a TH video the other day, and then I did a ch video, and those are consonants. The vowels are often not addressed, and that is often what is a big issue for people when they are learning a new language. They're not able to use the vowel system correctly, and in English, the short vowels tend to give a lot of people trouble. Zaman, how can I improve my level in listening and speaking? Great ways to do that are to actually work on listening. You can get online and get transcripts from news stations and then watch the broadcast. You can have the script so that you can read it after you watch the broadcast to make sure that you are listening and getting all of the information. There are also free tools online where you can listen to scripts and answer questions about those. Those are great as well. And speaking, I mentioned earlier, finding chat groups we have down below. We have some WhatsApp groups where you can chat with others who are learning English, and that is a great opportunity. There are also Zoom meetings where you can meet with others to practice conversation and speaking skills. The Learner's Dictionary. Robin's telling me about the Learner's Dictionary. I will make sure I do that. And Diego, hello Diego, great to see you. Mohammed, I speak English and I do speak some Spanish. Those are the languages that I speak. I actually have a friend who is helping me to learn more Spanish. I really want to improve my Spanish skills. Yes. So Albert is talking about accents, and I agree that there are definite differences, and I've had students who ask if I could maybe present them with a different accent. It's important to get a wide variety, but listening, so for example, I have a good friend who lives in Mississippi, the state of Mississippi, and she has a very strong Southern accent. And if you were trying to speak English so that others could understand you, you may not want to try to imitate that specific type of accent. Now, not everyone who lives in Mississippi has a strong drawl, but you want to try and find an accent that you feel works for you. And I do not say that British English and American English and different regional accents are one is better than the other. I really feel it's something personal that you need to decide for yourself. Listen and see what you feel works for you. Riham, how can I improve my writing skills? Writing is one of the last skills to develop. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was thinking about, think about when babies are born. When babies are born, think about that natural development that happens. At first, they learn to listen. Okay, so a baby, the first day it is born, it's already naturally attuned to their native language. Now, babies are able to actually differentiate between their native language and other languages for many, many months. But then once they get to be about 1 year of age, their brain is kind of shut off those languages that they're not being exposed to on a regular basis. So then they're not as likely to be able to understand other languages. But we learn first, we listen and understand, and babies are not born speaking. So they babble, they learn their sounds, then they learn words and sentences, of course, and so on. But one of the last things we see students develop is the ability to write. And that is because there are so many different parts of our brain that work together to write. And so it is one of the more difficult ones. So how can you improve your writing skill? I would suggest that you start with something that's functional for you. I always talk about what is functional and meaningful for you. What do you need to write? Maybe you just need to learn how to write out a check. Does anybody write checks anymore? You know, when you pay your bills? Maybe that's what you need to learn to write first. So learning how to write numbers might be important. Do you need to write a grocery list? So writing that. Make it functional, because then it's meaningful for you. How can I increase my vocabulary in English? I want the best way that helps me to don't forget it. So I mentioned earlier, record yourself with videos. Record yourself, watch them back, write down your words, use gestures to pair with your words. And Anna, I see your comment. When to use verb plus ing. If you can clarify if you're talking about present progressive tense, that would be great. What does it mean when someone's visibly shaken? Okay, so that's a great question. Let me see if I can. So someone's visibly shaken, I was going to try and show you. So if someone's visibly shaken, they would be, you can physically see that they may not be shaking per se, but you can visibly see that they are very emotional and in distress. They're visibly shaken. It's physically apparent that something has happened that caused them to be in a very difficult emotional state. How can I pronounce accordingly word? The word accordingly? Do you mean we have to listen first, then speak in writing? So, Anna, what I'm talking about is the development in children in your native language is to listen, then speak, then read, then write. That is typically the progression. Now, if you're learning a second language, you're able to bypass some of those things because you're able to use your background knowledge in your native language. Okay, so Albert is saying what I can see. Yes, that's what I was trying to describe, is that if you are watching them, and Alyssa, I know that that would be difficult for you, but to say that someone's visibly shaken, that means that you are looking at them and they physically appear to be in distress. Morning, Sajad. Nice to see you. Okay, keep the questions coming. I would love to answer more questions for you. Just as a reminder for those who were here later, I have my Instagram listed below if you would like to follow me there. I also have my YouTube channel, Learn English with Cheri, and then I am now on TikTok as well. And it looks like we have people sharing some great information with each other in the chat. Those are all amazing things. So I would like to ask you a question. Where would you suggest that I travel? Someone mentioned earlier that Switzerland would be a good place for me to travel. Let me know where you would suggest. I was born about 10 miles from where I am right now in the state of Illinois in the Midwest of the United States. Okay, teacher, there's a lot of meaning for what confused me. How can I separate these meanings? Oh, okay. Yes, there are certain words that have multiple meanings, and that can be rather difficult. So, for example, if I were to talk about the word where, and this is a homophone that I did a lesson about, where, W-H-E-R-E, and where as in W-E-A-R. Those are both words. They sound the same, but they have a different meaning, and that can be really difficult for you. So what is important is to listen to the entire sentence and get the context of the sentence. But what is challenging is when you get to that word that you don't understand and it makes you pause and your brain is stuck because you're trying to figure out what that word is and you don't hear the rest of the sentence. Yes, Vishuddha, I would love to travel to India and Asian countries as well. I would love to do that. For sure. I think the history is amazing in many different countries throughout the world. I love learning about how the societies work, and I love looking at the origin of the people in a country. I think all of those things are truly amazing. And then also to see the history, the historical artifacts, and architecture. My father is a contractor. He's retired now, but he made his living. Made his living means how he made money. He was a builder. He was a contractor. He built houses, primarily houses, and he did a lot of roofs as well. But I think that I have attained my love for architecture from my father, because I've watched him build many different types of homes for families. So Natalie, I have never traveled to South America, and I mentioned seeing Angel Falls, which is in Venezuela. I would love to go there. I'd love to go to Ecuador. I have some friends there I would love to visit, but there's so many places to go, and my children are now getting older, and so they're almost to the age where I would be able to start to travel and not have to be worried about what my children's safety and that they are doing their homework and things like that. Okay, so Anna, I'm going to look it up because I have heard what you're asking about, but it's not something that I have typically... okay. So it looks here. It looks like here that kowtow is... She didn't have to kowtow to a boss. Oh, grovel. Okay, I use the word grovel more frequently. And so what was your question? Is it a gesture? So this would be getting down on the ground, is the historical significance of that. So kneeling down. Okay, I think Albert wants to teach the class because he's answering all the questions. So yes, that is correct. A monk is the male person and the nun is female. And yes, I did not catch that Natalie said country for countries. I have not traveled to any South American countries. Natalie, I would like to. And Michelle, I have not visited Haiti. And, oh no, Albert, that's fine. I love that students are helping each other. I love that. I just can't read everybody's comments quickly enough. And Michelle, I have not visited Haiti. Yes, there are Haitians who are living in my area. I live, like I mentioned, in a region that is very rural, but we do have some meat packing plants, particularly pork plants. And the fact that we have pork plants, it is they employ a lot of people, and they employ people and they pay good wages. And so we get people from all over the world who will travel to the United States, and they decide to settle in my community and work at the pork plant. And so I do have quite a few students in my school who are from Haiti. I have students who are from Myanmar as well. And I have students from many, many different countries. I think my school where I teach is actually a smaller school. There are maybe I'm guessing here, maybe 1,000 students, and we have over 20 different languages that are spoken in my school. Okay, guys, keep the questions coming. We will go for about another 5 to 10 minutes or so. And I know a couple of you asked some grammatical questions, so I would like to, Anna, I'd like to address your question, but I think that's something that needs a little bit, I'd like to actually do a lesson on that. So I'd like to touch base with you on that so I can answer that. How to improve the questioning skill? That is a great question because I work with my students on how to answer questions and how to ask questions. So Anna, do you want to know how to ask questions or how to answer questions? Because one thing that I think is helpful is to actually look at each question word and determine what type of response is being sought after. So, looking at what and the type of response, looking at when and knowing that when the answer is going to be a time, knowing that where is going to be a location or place, breaking those down so that you know what type of response you're looking for so that you can use the correct question word. Sajad, how about to visit this time in Australia? The weather is warm there now. Yes, so Australia would be a great place to visit. I think that would be an amazing country to visit, but I'd also like to visit New Zealand. I'd love to visit New Zealand. And they are actually, since they're in the southern hemisphere and I'm in the northern hemisphere, their weather is the opposite. It does seem strange to me as someone who lives where I live, and at Christmas we often have a lot of snow. It snowed for the first time earlier this week on Monday. Yeah, Monday, which was yesterday. Oh my goodness, my days. But yesterday it snowed for the first time. And to think that at Christmas time, it's hot in Australia. So Anna, both of them. Okay, so I think the first thing is to recognize what each question word means. And then you can then move towards the ability to answer the questions, because remember how we go with that. It's usually the receptive language and then the expressive language. So receptive, understanding them, and then being able to answer them. So there are 2 steps to that process. And again, I would suggest writing things down is a great way to help memorize different types of grammar functions. And also it will then give you a script that you can practice. So scripts are a great way to practice without the pressure of having to recall things immediately. And by a script, I mean that there's literally a script. So you are going to follow a script of asking, what do you want to eat for dinner? And then asking the different questions that would go along with that. I did have the restaurant lesson that is on my YouTube channel where I talk about the different types of questions that a server will ask you at a restaurant. So if you kind of can prepare for those. But in real life, that doesn't work, right? And I find when I am trying to speak in Spanish and coming up with those question words, when you are in a transaction, you're trying to purchase something at a store, it can be difficult. It does happen though with time. It can happen. Hello, we have someone new here. I'm not sure about your name. Yes, Michelle, we can get a lot of snow where I live. Now, Robin is from Canada, and in Canada, they get a lot more snow than I do. But we can get several feet of snow here where I live, and winter is coming very soon. It is still fall here, but the winter weather is just around the corner. It's very cold. I have to wear a heavy coat, and I had some videos I posted on Instagram from last weekend. I was outside, and it was very, very cold. I had on hat, gloves, a scarf, and a heavy coat, and I had 3 layers of pants. I had 3 layers. It was so cold. Let's see, I love New Zealand too, but I've never been. Yes, so if you watch the movies, The Lord of the Rings, those were shot in New Zealand. And that is what made me realize the beauty of that country. A lot of the movies were shot in New Zealand. And, oh no, Albert, that I completely understand. No, you don't need to apologize. And how to learn English for a second language. So Kwan, this is a question I addressed earlier. And what I always say when people ask me this question is to talk about, why do you want to study English? What is your goal? Is it because you want to attend a certain school? Is it because you want to maybe get a different job? Is it because you want to hopefully travel? If you want to travel, there are different reasons to acquire a different language. And so when you determine why you want to speak English, then you can develop the steps on how to get there. Gertrudis, Halloween party. So since you asked, I will show you. So I have my cat ears here, and these are what I will probably wear to school on Friday. Halloween is Saturday, but on Friday, my students will be in a festive mood for Halloween, so I will wear my cat ears. I have not been to a Halloween party yet. On Saturday, I will be traveling and maybe go to a haunted house with my daughter. Dwee, what's the difference between winter and snowy? Winter is the season. Snowy describes the weather. If I were to say it's a snowy day, that means that it is snowing, there's snow on the ground. It's a way to describe the weather. A for Anna, I love writing journals and diary, but I'm not sure the grammatical errors that I've made, how to overcome that situation. So you can use, there are online devices that you can use to run through to find your errors with grammar that are free. That would be one suggestion that I would have. Mohammed, thanks for coming. Have a great rest of your day. Hello, Free. Great to see you. Trench coat and coat. This is not a silly question at all. A coat can be any type of coat. It can be a short coat. It can be a longer coat. There are different kinds of coats. A trench coat really has to do with the type of material that the coat is made out of. It is usually like a khaki color, which is a tan color, and there are buttons on the front that are different, and the lapel, this would be like the collar or the lapels of the coat are a certain style. Hobbiton, good, yes. Alyssa Marie, yes. And wire pumpkin is very common during Halloween. I don't know. I have my pumpkin here that I share with my students all the time. I show them this and then I flip it around. I'm sure there's definitely some history to that I'm not aware of. I'm not sure, but the fact that it is ripe in the fall might have some kind of significance. And Free, please help me. Okay, so we have some suggestions below in the chat for things that you can do to help with your English. Rendell, I am from the Midwest, the middle of the United States. Kwan, I'd like to go abroad, so let's start to study English. Okay, so if that's what you are wanting to do, if you want to travel, then that will be your goal, and you will look towards what type of language, what type of phrases do I need to learn to travel. When I prepared to travel to Russia for my adoption of my children, what I did was I learned about 100 Russian phrases that I would need to say to a young child. Things like, do you have to go to the potty or toilet? Things like, it's going to be okay, relax. And phrases that a parent would use. Yes, the sound of a train. Yes, did you hear a sound of a train? I live 1 block from a railroad track, and so the trains come through all the time. I don't even recognize it anymore. And Albert says a trench coat is determined by length. Yes, I don't believe I talked about trench coats are usually to the knee. They're longer coats. Okay. Also, it's the material too, because you could have a coat that would be long, but it's not called a trench coat. I have a long coat, and it's called a stadium coat. And a stadium coat is what you would wear if you need something that is very warm and long, and it's called a stadium coat because it's thought of as something that you would wear to go to a stadium outside, like a football stadium, to see a sporting event outside. Alyssa, if I were a zombie, of course, because zombies don't know who their loved ones are. Everyone is free reign, right? Everyone's like, there's no holds barred if you're a zombie. You just want to eat brains. That's a great question. Alyssa, you always have fantastic questions to ask. I'm not going to talk about dream learning because I don't know enough about it. When I was in graduate school, I did a few times. I had some big exams and I was really nervous about, and I recorded myself reading my notes for my exams, reading the notes, and then I played them, and I tried to sleep while I had these notes being read to myself, and I had a hard time falling asleep, but I don't know much about dream learning. It's a good question, though. All right, guys, so we are going to wrap it up here in the next few minutes. So if anyone has any questions, please let me know. We'll wrap up things, and I appreciate all of you being here. Robin and I are just very thankful for the students supporting the platform that we have here. And what I love is students like Albert and others, you help each other. The best way to learn English is to surround yourself with others who have the same goals and who are motivated to do so. I never would have been able to attain different things in my life if it weren't for surrounding myself with people who encouraged me and supported me. So I would suggest you find a community, whether it is an online chat group, whether it's people who are physically near you. Find people who will support you in you meeting and achieving your goals. I would love to hear you, Albert. I would love to hear you. Bugging me for a long time. What is the native speaker perspective when listening to our broken English? Okay. I'm pausing because I'm sad. I'm sad because I'm going to tell you what the reality is, where in some areas. In some areas, the reality is that, and these are people who are ignorant. Ignorant is not a negative term to me. People who are ignorant don't know. They just don't know. So if you have a person who doesn't have experience in speaking with people who are not fluent in their own language, which unfortunately we do see in the United States, people will hear someone speaking and they will recognize that they are not a native speaker, and then they may automatically assume that that person doesn't know what they're talking about. That's not everyone. Of course, that's not me. I find myself more interested if someone's speaking to me, and as you mentioned, there's broken English. I kind of lean in, and I want to interact with them even more. But I do think that there is a negative attitude, and also it's not just in the United States. When I was traveling in Russia, and I would try to speak Russian, I would also get that kind of response at times when I would try to speak Russian. And Gertrudis, I have my lessons every Tuesday here on Learn English Live. So every Tuesday. But Q&As, I don't know. I usually post on Sunday or Monday what my topic will be. Yes, that is, Albert, you are correct. Ignorant people are often not willing to grow, change, and learn. But also that has to do with how people are raised as well. If you are raised to just think that the center of the universe is wherever your family is located, and you're not encouraged to explore the world and learn about all the amazing people and countries that are out there, then that has to do with nurture more than nature. Because I think by nature, humans are very inquisitive people, inquisitive beings. We enjoy looking and learning, and I am a student and I will never stop learning. Okay, so I think this is a good time to about wrap it up, which is wrap it up means we need to finish. Please discuss about questions, how often or how related questions phrase. How often? So if I were to ask how often do you brush your teeth? Is that what you're talking about, Shahjad? Because I'm not quite sure on that. When do you brush your teeth? When means what time of day? We're talking about time. How often do you brush your teeth means, okay, do you brush your teeth daily? Do you brush your teeth twice a day? 3 times a day? Thank you, Anna. Yes, people of this group who are here at this lesson, surround yourself with others who want to support you in your thirst for knowledge and your goals to become a fluent English speaker. That is my best advice to all of you. And finally, I want to say, be kind to one another. Keep working hard. You can do it. You can become a fluent English speaker, and recognize that I am a native speaker and I am not 100% fluent. I make errors in my grammar all the time, and that is okay. Keep working. You can do it. I have to brush my teeth twice. Okay. Yes. Sounds good. Great, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Happy Halloween to those of you who do enjoy the holiday, and see you soon. Goodbye.